Just so you know, we are now pretty much going to transition the moment I have the balls to. No. Yep. Don't think the music will go. I think you'll just see the stream as it is. Sorry about that. It's a bit of a painful arrangement. Oh no, I will, like, as soon as the track map is gone and your name is there in the corner. Welcome to one of the most classic racetracks in the world. One of our absolute favourite American traditions on the week to week. It's the... I've lost my mind. Let's get straight to it. It's the Indianapolis 125, the Indycar Open Series, taking us down to our favourite venue for open wheel ovals, possibly in American history. 2.5 miles, 4 super long straights with those crazy high-speed corners. This is one of the most hallowed American circuits in the world, and while the 500 may be in the summer, every winter the IndyCar Series returns to bring you just one more trip around a shorter race duration. Well,
Howie, being an American and getting a chance to cover a race at Indianapolis brings back a lot of old memories for me. I grew up listening to the Indy 500 on the radio. It was before they actually broadcast it live on TV, and you had to wait. The race was raced on Sunday, and then they broadcast it on Memorial Day. And so we, that was how I grew up listening to this. And so this, when it comes to American racetracks, this is obviously the king. It always has been. It is an interesting facility. Turns are really flat. Not a lot of banking here at all. Really long straightaways, high speed, and a lot of danger for real life drivers here. This is a phenomenal circuit. There's so much history here. All the great winners, Rick Mears and Danny Sullivan and his spin to win. This is it's just an iconic track with a lot of great memories for American motorsports fans.
And, I've had the pleasure of driving this whenever it shows up on the oval schedule, which usually happens at least once a season because we can't help ourselves. But over here we have something slightly different. The Open Setup Series doesn't show up nearly as often, but it means it's going to be quite a bit more variant in drivers, a bit more like the real one, where everyone's bringing their own slightly different setup. So I've never done this in the open setups. Maybe you haven't, but I've always done a bit of tinkering with the anti-roll bars, a little bit of tinkering with the wings. Your cars have to be extreme and on edge here to really get the most out of these super high-speed laps.
Yeah, I have actually done some open setup stuff here in a league, and it's the trick to this track is you've got to have a good balance in your car, but the real nuts and bolts of this place is aero push. When you get your car behind another car, going around the circuit during the race, you lose the nose on this car so bad. I mean, it is so tough to drive through the turns riding right behind somebody. And you've got to do a lot of adjusting to some of the in-car stuff like the weight jacker to survive that. And if you don't, it'll push right into the wall before you know it at these speeds. It's a handful behind somebody.
And don't even get me started on running side by side with someone. We have quite a big grid today. Half of them didn't set qualifying times. We'll give them a quick run through in order to quickly acclimatise ourselves. Thankfully, we get the pace lap to do it. Just 1 second, and we'll have the starting grid for this race. I noticed half the people didn't even set their qualifying time. Maybe they enjoy doing it from the back. Marco Aurelio Brazil starts in P1 with Adam Blocker in P2. Mark Murphy in 3 with Sam Karasala in 4. AJ Muscleman in 5. And Nicholas Sudik lines up in 6. Some super close times at the top. Olivia Hayward in P7. Seen her before on the channel. Chris God, you should know how to say it one. Chris Wilhide?
You more power to you in these names. Keep going. You're doing a great job.
I like the enthusiasm. Mohammed Omir in 9th. He's a personal friend of the channel. No bias here. Lucas Lodato in 10th with Gonzalo Romero in 11th and Lilac Zia in P12. I raced against her on the iRacing YouTube channel earlier today. I'm sure we'll have a chance to share that story. Now, down there, we have Hamilton Acabreze in 13th, and Jesper Orman in 14th, Pablo Diaz-Frances in 15th, and Seb Alexander in 16th. Rashid Craig in 17th, and John Silver in 18th. Finish off with Daniel Ferguson in P19. The only name I really got lost on was the American one. Hey, every week, a new challenge.
That was pretty funny, actually. I would have struggled through about, let's see, there's 19, probably about 17 people on the grid. And as you said, you got a couple of friends of the channel on here, Olivia Howard. I'm actually in Hayward. I'm actually in a league with her where we race the Porsche Mission R car, which you've covered here on the channel. So I guess she'll be who I'm rooting for tonight, I guess. This is a completely different animal than that Porsche car, for sure.
Well, When I did a practice run for these races, I did sort of like a demo where I came around and made sure to track him going around the track for a previous SOF with some friends, including Mohammed Omir, and he won the race over the line. Well, he's got a harder road to go up, and obviously there's a lot more drivers to look at. The SOF of this field is over 4,000. This is a field that absolutely brings their best. And they're going to heavily populate a race this legendary. We are doing 85 laps, so it's 125 miles. A one-stop strategy is expected.
Yeah, that's going to be fun, though. I almost hope that I don't think this thing will go green all the way, but with the skill of drivers and the nature of this track, hopefully we'll get some really long green flag runs. I would love to see him have to stop under green, because that sure makes pit stops exciting.
I love those green flag pit stops, but there will be a couple cautions or two. We've never broadcasted a race with cautions. Well, we are looking to get into the oval scene soon, but the only oval race I've covered up to now was an ARCA race, the caution-free race. So there probably will be some breaks. The drivers here are intelligent. They are good at what they do, but at these sort of speeds, at this sort of intensity, the incidents may always kick off, where as we approach the final few turns of this pace lap, it will be Marco Brazil in control of the field.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is going to be a lot of fun tonight. A lot of fun.
This track likes to show up on the schedule every season for the ovals, but you don't get to see it every day in the Open Series, and these are the absolute greatest Indy drivers in iRacing, ready to stake their claim. Marco's in control of the grid. It's green. He gets it away good. Mark Murphy and Adam Blocker running behind. Looks like Mark Murphy's going to get the better going into turn 1. Little bit of too wide going in behind as drivers scramble for that early track position.
Yeah, Marco got a really nice jump on that start right there. He opened up a 3-car length lead, but really before anybody else got on the accelerator. And that also allowed Murphy to slide in behind him. Here goes Murphy. He's just going to go ahead and make a move right on the first lap here and take the lead. That was a very nice move right there.
There's going to be a bit more position trading where that came from in this opening stage, but the best time to get position is now. These straights providing a massive draft as Marco Brazil drops in to reclaim that P1. Fastest way around this track is often to get in that toe and give it up on the straights, but that dirty air in the corners, it really, really kills your car's turn in. The setups will allow for a little bit more looseness, so the drivers will get more than they usually get out of a fixed setup. They'll be absolutely running the loosest thing they can possibly get away with, but going too wide in that corner, it is terrifying. Do you want to be out for air?
Yeah, as you can see, if you look at Mark Murphy running in second there, he gets in that turn, he gets his nose out in some clean air to get some downforce on it, especially going into like 1 and 3 where you're carrying all that speed.
Thing on board with Adam Blocker here as we get a front row seat to the tussling up ahead. Adam's a little bit out of this chase for now, but I think he might just be biding his time. Third car in a pack loves to watch the others chase around them. And they are going to be trading back to back as they go too wide again. And into turn 3, it's Marco Brazil. Looking a little bit further back, we have Lilac Zier here and Pablo Frances side by side. I accidentally ended up in the iRacing SCCA runoffs earlier this week. It happened. You can check me out in the USF 2000 race where I set the slowest qualifying lap on stream and then disappear into the sunset. And I recall Lilac Zier, it might have been Lilac, she was definitely in the race, but there was someone else with a similar name and similar paint scheme, messing up their qualifying and then charging down the middle from last so quickly, she was just gone into the sunset forever. So, nice to see some fun. Get lucky with seeing some fun top split names around here. Little bit of recessional position trading between his P1 and P2. They're not going to give up for a while.
No, it's like they obviously know what they're doing here. They're pulling each other around and swapping spots. Trying to, I would guess at this point they're trying to kind of create a gap, to pull away from the rest of this field a little bit. They know what they're doing. This is, I'm not going to say it's planned or anything, but they certainly know that the other guy's going to do it, and they're just continuing to do it over and over again, which it is the fastest way around this track. So, they're just probably at this point just trying to, to create some comfortable space for themselves. And Adam Blocker's just riding along back there, taking that toe off of him and just hanging in there with him, doing a good job.
I have seen some more positions trade up and down. Looking a little bit further back, I've seen Mohamed Omir make up a position or two and hanging quite close to Olivia Hayward for the battle. Maybe the names just stand out to me. I don't know. Fastest lap currently set by Sam Karasala. We haven't noticed him so far, but he's running just a little bit off the weight of this front pack.
Yeah, they're starting to spread out a little bit now. Again, those front two drivers are swapping back and forth every straightaway, and Blocker's staying with them. But they're really starting to open up some gaps now. The thing about Indy is people that don't know, they look at something like this and they say, whatever. It's just, going up there and turning left. You have to be so precise at these speeds. These cars are doing, I'm guessing, 240-ish, something like that. And you just have to be so precise with your inputs, and you can't just anything you do to scrub off some speed cost you big at a place like this. These guys up front are really putting on a little show, and it's a lot of fun with them swapping back and forth, every straightaway or so.
Been clean racing so far. These are some very respectful and strong drivers, but I do warn and posit that it might not last forever. It's going to take one small mistake to undo all of this, and we're going to get a caution. We're going to do it again. At that point, it's a single file restarts when that happens. As Seb Alexander seems to set a new fastest lap.
Somebody back there scuffed the wall a little bit, drifted up there a little bit too much and scuffed the wall. I'm not sure who it was pretty deep in the pack, but one of those, all it's going to take is one of those to get away from you a little bit. And like you said, we'll see a caution. We're riding on board here with Seb Alexander. I love that gyro cam. It really gives you a perspective of the G's that these cars take in the turn, as you see that camera fling over like that. And these turns are relatively flat. I mean, they're not severely banked, but as you can see, the G forces are making that camera swing like that. That's a really great way to get a feel for what it feels like to be in one of these cars.
So our update on the front seems to be that Mark Murphy has pulled away a bit. You can't pull out a huge run here, but just a bit. But it's opened up Adam and Sam. behind. They look a little bit closer and a little bit feistier than they ever have before as we approach lap 10 now across the line. Marco's going to take that position back. Looked like could have been a false dawn as the two behind don't really get their purchase for now. But we're going to see these gaps grow and shrink continuously, I think. So no point commentating every tiny little draft pass as it's the most exciting thing we see in the world, but it all plays into the long-run narrative of this race. There is not enough time. There's not enough fuel for these cars to go the full stint. A stop is mandatory, and the tyres have a strange dynamic around here. They often seem to get faster as the run goes on.
Yeah, the tires here have always been interesting. I remember going back to when they redid this track. I don't remember, 15, 20 years ago. They put some grooving in it, and it was destroying tires and became very dangerous for a couple of years. In fact, when the NASCAR guys ran here that particular year, they had to throw a caution flag every 10 laps, so the guys could come, or 10 or 15 laps, the guys so they could come in and change tires because they were blowing the tires, and it was, extremely dangerous at the speeds those cars carry here. Oh, that's a fantastic camera angle right there. Really gives you an idea of the speed. That was great.
Yeah, they also had an infamous F1 week as a result of that diamond cutting. It's taken a while to settle in, though.
Yes. Yeah, they did have it. That's right. They did. I forgot about the F1 week. Yeah, you see up front here, they're still doing their swapping thing. And Sam, in fourth place there, he'd gotten up there and was chewing on their tail a little bit, but he seems to fall a couple of car lengths back. But, right now, I think they're settling in and finding their speed. Obviously, these three guys up front are, some of the fastest in the field. Do we have anybody that's moved up big in the field? Let's take a look and see.
I can take a look at some of the biggest gainers. I've not seen a tremendous lift from people, but Gonzalo Romero and Seb Alexander made at least 3 to 4 off the start. There really are only 2 big movers so far. It really has settled down. Seb Alexander makes it 3.
Yeah, we had ridden on board with Seb a little bit earlier, and that's good to see. 4 spots at this point that's a nice move up in the field, what's funny is a lot of people didn't put in a qualifying time, but they they seem to kind of be placed by iRacing in a spot where they are running. It seemed like the iRacing placement system there for the ones that didn't qualify worked out pretty well.
Yeah, sorted by iRacing, and in a field this big, the highest driver has over 7,000 over iRating. It's Adam Blocker here, actually, with his 7K. I mean, this lobby goes as low as 3.8, which is still 3.6, I think, which is still significant. There's still a lot of talent, and that is our 3.6K driver, Sam Karasala, in behind this pack part of the battle. I think anybody can win this with enough practice.
You could add all 5 of my iRatings up on iRacing, and I don't think I would get to 7,000.
You could multiply mine about 7 times, and I don't think you'd get there.
Well, what's funny is you and I have raced. We randomly bump into each other in races from time to time. It's quite funny. Actually.
Often on Indy Road and Open Wheel Road.
Yeah, we were doing. With like a Super Formula lights that maybe I don't know, Road America or something we jumped into, or an IndyCar. It might have been IndyCar at Road America, or Road Atlanta. I mean, this is typical, Indy racing. You got a guy here sitting in third place with 7,000 iRating. He knows what he's doing. I mean, he's just biding his time, putting in his laps, and staying in contact with the leaders, and then, you're going to see the majority of the activity happen in the last 15, 20 laps here, I'm sure. And I'm really hoping that we have to go green flag pit stop. At this point, it's looking like that could be possible.
Drivers are showing immense respect for themselves and for the track as they roar around the circuit. You know, I usually have to deal with a back-to-back caution fest around here until the trash weeds itself out. But it's great watching some of these drivers at their absolute best. I guess the nature of maybe being a once it comes around SOF might take some of the pressure off. I know Indy 500 is a infamous iRacing event of legend. I guess there's a little bit less of a build-up to this one. You might do some less outrageous moves. Adam Blocker is all over the back of Mark Murphy, still not making that move happen. Still just keeping it tied into the rear and not giving any bold moves. I thought he was going to run to the back of him there, to be honest.
Yeah, they're well. If you look at that whole front pack's kind of tightening back up now a little bit. Looks like maybe as the tires are starting to fall off a little bit or something. They just seem to be, that whole pack is kind of closed back up a little bit.
Tires have a unique dynamic here where they will get a bit looser as the run goes on and therefore get a bit faster and then suddenly be too loose and you need to change them. So it's quite unlike a typical stock car run around here. The best laps start to come in around the lap 20-25 mark. Before then, they start falling off again. But obviously, you have to be quite a demon to manage that slip. It can take out many an unsuspecting driver.
Well, the beautiful part about these Indy cars compared to, like, as you mentioned, the stock car, they have in-car adjustments. You know, they can adjust their front and rear anti-roll bar, which is, that's more of a fine-tuning adjustment. And then they have something on these Indy cars for ovals, and basically it adjusts the right rear tire up, basically the cross weight of the car off or on the back tire. So as the car gets looser when the tires start to wear, you can correct that by just putting a little more weight on the back end of the car and driving that tire into the ground a little more. It'll help it grip up a little bit. And also just the opposite of that, when the car gets incredibly tight, when you're behind somebody, you can make an adjustment to the weight jacker to help compensate for that also.
Fuel management is particularly unique here as well. You know, the fuel will make it about halfway through the race, but your usage is so influenced by whether or not you're in this draft. You'll literally just save gallons over the course of the race by being in the draft of people. And then, of course, you have the 8 modes, really, 5 for oval racing and 1 for cautions, that you can use to save over the race. If we never get a caution, though, these drivers are going to be up to the limit on fuel saving by the end of their run.
Yeah, I wish I would have thought to do a run to see what the fuel run was going to be in these cars. Of course, it's hard to tell if you're not out there running in a draft, because that makes a huge difference.
It really does change everything.
Yeah, the way you can adjust these cars, for people that don't know, they have a throttle, engine mapping dial in there, and you can adjust, which just controls the flow rate of the fuel, and it saves it's not much. I mean, it's a few tenths of a gallon a lap maybe, or something like that, but over the course of a run it can buy you a couple more laps, and that sometimes makes a huge difference.
I've had races, single-handedly changed here just on the back of my fuel management. I was running P1 and had to dip it down to map 4 just to make it to the end of the race because I didn't have that draft and my calculations are a bit iffy. So the dynamic has been playing out much as we've seen it from the start. The constant trading for P1 as these two cars drafted train each other around, and Adam Blocker really having nothing to do with any of it. But he's kept himself within striking distance.
He might be sitting there and mapping 3 or something, just riding and using the draft to keep himself up there and saving fuel the whole time.
Unfortunately, we don't quite get to know the settings people are on when we're spectating and not league admins, but it's very possible you could just be running for a safe run here. But I've not seen him try for a single move.
No, he's clearly not, because he could. He's clearly in a spot where he could. He just I think he's content riding right there for now. And like I said, he may have his car dialed in on a when he gets up tucked in there and he's really getting pulled along, saving fuel in the event that, he can stretch his pit stop a couple of laps more than somebody else. And you never know, you may get a caution, especially with people trying to pit. That's a lot of times when you've been caution free, running 240 miles an hour, and you try to get slowed down to get in the pits, people can spin. Or, and crazy stuff like that can happen. Or you come out on new tires and get in trouble. And you see a lot of cautions around situations like that. So, that's
I do see a bit of an incident further back on the field. It's not an incident, my bad. It's our first green flag pit stops. This is Jesper Orman and Seb Alexander. I saw them dropping wildly back. I thought something might have happened. But they're making very, very early pit stops.
Well, if they're inside their fuel window, this is not a bad strategy. Going to try to undercut the field, and they pitted together, so now they can come out and run together. So they'll have somebody to draft with, and they can, do the swapping thing, and and still go pretty fast. So maybe that's their strategy.
Now we're starting to see that one person's triggered it. The whole field is going. They want to stop very, very early. It's AJ Musselman and Chris Wilhite next in. Really, so the bullet's been bitten for the whole field as our fastest lap now set out by Pablo Frances. But then there's another bullet to bite when the front of the field do it. People have been very smart here, running together, running in pairs to make these pit stops happen, but obviously this whole complexion of this race will now be changed by when these top drivers choose to take their stops.
I don't think you'll see the guys up front do it real early. I would be surprised to see that.
Another pit stop down behind. That's Lilac Zia down behind, also making one of our own. We are on schedule here, but people are doing it very early, and if you do it this early, could it be a two-stop with no cautions? It could be that there isn't going to be enough fuel on the other side of a pit stop this early. Either you're banking on cautions, or you just think this is going to go clean to the end, and we're going to have to two-stop this now.
Oh, boy, that would be an interesting strategy. If you thought it was going to go green all the way, to turn it into a two-stopper would be tough, because that's going to, that's going to put you far behind the people that do this as a one-stopper.
Well, I don't think you might be able to get the one-stop done if the race is going to be this clean. As we just take a look at the gaps now between drivers, I've finally worked out the magic to getting those up on the stream. You wouldn't want to know what happens. That is Adam Blocker. Adam Blocker's gone. He's just gone into the wall. That's actually... It's not Adam Blocker, it's a huge break. It's Mark Murphy. He started off the whole chain and he got loose and he just lost it completely.
Oh, wow, man. That was... Oh, let's see.
Let's catch the roll bar. He got loose here, I think, under his own power. You can see pit stops flying in right now. The drivers that waited are going to rue the day. He's gotten loose down there on the inside. So, that's heartbreaking. That's another car he's just collected in the way. That's Mohamed Omir getting caught and killed. He did say that there was a chance he would get wrecked out of this before the race. That's horrible luck to be there. As I'd like to maybe catch Mohamed's view on board one more time. Those drivers are not going to be returning anytime soon. That is...
I think what happened to Murphy there was, like I was saying earlier about having to have some weight jacker cranked in that car when you're behind somebody, and then you get out in clean air, and all of a sudden, then your car becomes extremely loose because you had the weight jacked up to help the car when it was aero pushing behind those other cars, and now he got out in clean air and that car got away from him a little bit. I wouldn't be shocked at all if that's what happened to him there.
First big wreck, and it catches the guy that promised to get wrecked. That is horrifically unlucky, and it's just one of those things that happens. As now the rest of the field, pit lane opens. Anyone that hasn't made their stop so far is going to do it, and we're going to see a right shuffling of this grid as a ton of drivers made those early stops just before the caution. Which side do you prefer to be on? The one that stopped just before the caution, or maybe the one that hung out and waited?
Well, if you were further back in the pack, sure, that pitting early and getting this track positions is nice. If you're one of the fastest cars out there, those guys that were up in that lead pack, it's fine. They're getting to do it under green flag. They're going to have fresher tires. It could go either way. It just depends really, I think, where you were at in the field. If you were in the back, though, and you pitted early, this is glorious. You're going to get some of that track position. You're going to have, some cleaner air to run in and not be held up by traffic as much. So, I think it just, goes both ways, just depending on where you were.
And this does sort of neutralize that tyre and fuel strategy for everybody, because the stints will be quite close. These drivers that stayed out are only going to have a few more laps run than those that didn't, who have made a fresh stop. So we're not seeing dramatic changes. I don't think Mark Murphy's coming back, so let's hide some of these pit stop notifications for drivers that are well and truly done for the day. Looks like it might be two drivers out for good, Mark Murphy and Mohamed Omer. Mark seems to be still sitting in the car in the pits with that meatball, but I don't think there's a chance he gets away with it. He has the wheels on the car. If that car makes it back onto the field, I will be amazed. Mohamed Omer already having backed out of the session. And that leaves 17. And some of the drivers maybe they missed that pit stop on the first time around.
Is there any chance that we can get Mark Murphy on the radio?
I'm not sure. I have no access to that community, unfortunately, now. And we're only really covering this one temporarily. But this series usually has some 80 broadcasts throughout the rest of the year, and they drop out on the Christmas season, and that just gives me one wonderful void to drop into. But we have plenty more coming from some other series, including a special tournament league that you can still sign up to. It's still American driving, but it's a little bit different as we take mini stocks to road circuits. Go to www.aeonesports.com and join the league. We ran our first race, but there's a drop week for you to drop in and potentially money on the line if you think you are the mini stock champ. It's going to be a wild ride. In addition to anyone out there looking into the stars, thinking, I want to get one of these of my own league, you can contact broadcasting at aeonesports.com, and we'll make sure to get back to you on that. We're still taking applications for series for the new year. It's going to be an exciting new year in iRacing.
It will. So back to the mini stock league there. If you have not run a mini stock on a road course, you do not know what you're missing. They are so much fun. And the beautiful part about that series is, I believe most of that is all free content. I think there might be one paid track in there or something. So you could join that league with free content, and it's a lot of fun. But we are going back to green right here with AJ Musselman in the lead.
Yep, AJ Musselman leads the pack with the single file restart in the IndyCar series, with Jesper Orman behind and Chris Wilty in third. Seb Alexander and Lilac Zier also jumping up the field. So a very, very different set of drivers. Adam Blocker has kept a P6, didn't make a pit stop when it was necessary. He's now the next really the competitor that played his cards right, and he's in the right place and the right time to try and now have to fight his way for a few more cars, I think, to earn his way up this field.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how those guys that were up in the front are going to be able to work their way back up. Like you said, Adam Blocker, he's in sixth right there, and I'm sure he's going to move right on up. Seb Alexander, that's good to see him up there in fourth. He had moved up the second most spots in the early part of the race, and now here he sits with an early pit stop up in fourth place. Lilac Zier, that's great to see her up there.
Yeah, as Adam Blocker looks like he is going to start making things happen in order to get back up to the top of this pack. He's already pushed it up into P5. That lack of aggression we saw at the start is really starting to reverse itself now, as we're going to see position trading up front between Muscleman and Orman, trying to build a gap out to that P3 car behind. New fastest lap of the race, it's Olivia Hayward. These laps are getting faster and faster as the rubber comes down and down and down. Think we'll make it into the 39s today?
Yeah, maybe. I would say we'll creep down in there. It's going to be close, but yes, I believe we will. Especially late in the race when they really cut loose, you know.
Of course, the optimal line around here, really dipping those tyres just below that white line, but not on it because the paint messes with the grip. iRacing really do scan everything into these circuits. Now stuck between Seb Alexander, tried to send it too wide a little earlier on, didn't quite commit to the move. Seb's being a little bit difficult in front. Seb is really placing his car here to try and hold off the front, as that's Marco Brazil just a few places behind, looking to try and make those places back as well. Interesting just how little has changed.
Yeah, well, you know, these cars are not, it's not really easy, to pass back in the pack here. It's a little harder than it is to do the thing of swapping out front like that. But I have a feeling that the guys who were fastest in the first stint of this race, later on in this part of the run, they'll be back up front again.
As Adam pushes back past Seb Alexander, he is not at all done at all. He wants to at least be back in that P3 where he can restart his fight. But that P1 and 2 between Muscleman and Orman is absolutely pulling away at a rate unlike the start of this race.
Yeah, it seems to be working a little better here. They are definitely pulling away. I just think you also have to have somebody that you can work with, that it just, it's kind of like drafting in NASCAR or something. You just got to find somebody that their cars work together well, and maybe the cars behind them aren't working as well together as they are. But I think I think that you'll see this next two groups eventually close back in on them.
Let's see, Rashad Craig. Something must have happened to his car. I'll try and catch what happened there as soon as I can. Not normal to see that car in that bad of a state. But it didn't seem to cause a caution, so he is out of this race though.
Yeah, and it's he hit the left side of the car is what's tore up there, which is curious. Makes me think he maybe got loose or something and overcorrected, or came back and hit the inside wall, which maybe got him off the racing part, and they didn't.
This will help us see. Now, cautions are a bit unusual in iRacing, and if he gets below the white line before he's passed, he will get away without a caution here. It's into the wall, and it's straight into that. That would hurt in real life. That would hurt. Rashad Craig sent out of this race.
Yeah, that looks like what happened. Looks like he just got a little loose there and corrected it, and it caught and snapped over on him and hit that inside wall hard. Yeah, in real life, that one would have hurt bad.
Set up these cars to be as loose as you can get away with. This is the Open Series as a reminder, so these cars will be slightly different from each other, unlike the usual fixed weekly series. On the topic of other things that are happening in the iRacing world this weekend, not this weekend, I think the coming weekend, do you have any interest in running that Winter Derby?
Oh, well, what's funny is I grew up in Louisiana, and I also lived on the Gulf Coast in Mississippi, which is, not that far at all. We used to drive over to Pensacola and go watch the Snowball Derby several years in a row. We went over there. It was about a 3-hour ride from us in Louisiana, 3 to 4 hours to get over there. And so we'd go over and spend a couple days there. I probably won't run it. I'm not a super late model guy. I will run regular stock late model stocks, but I don't actually own the super late model car. Plus, to be honest, I wouldn't be remotely competitive with those guys over there. There's some really talented oval drivers going to be running over there this week.
I might jump in and try and get wrecked and die. I probably won't make the broadcast this time around, though, as there's some real tussling here in the middle of this field. That Marco Brazil we're looking at, but with Lyle Xia, Gonzalo Romero, and Nicholas Sudik behind. They are absolute. This is a real battle right now.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really tussling out there right now. I tell you what, old Adam Blocher's moving up, though. He's sitting there in 4th place. He got by Seb Alexander. And you got, Marco Brazil right there 2 places behind him, trying to get around Seb. Right now, they're creeping their way back up to the front as the laps go. I'm just really curious if what the fuel window was there, because, I'm assuming that we're going to have one more stop. I would love to have a confirmation of that but I did not do my due diligence and put in a fuel run on this situation, and I should have.
I'll see if I can get you some information on that, and I'll report back when we know. Here's as the P2 of Chris Wilhite. You can see that he's not pulling in the same way that Adam Blocker did, but now who's on the rear wing trying to make his way through? And I imagine trying to make his way through, it is Adam Blocker himself. I think he will try and make this move. If he ends up back in P3 again, it's exactly where he wants to be.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's content probably hanging right here as well. He'll pick his time to really start moving up, but more than anything, I'm sure he'd like to find out if he can work with Chris Wilhite here, and if they can work together, because there's going to be a point in time where you're going to have to find somebody to work with to really get up there and make a move, especially if the 2 front guys continue to work together like the last 2 sets have. So he's probably trying to feel out Wilhite if they don't know each other. A lot of these guys know each other, and race together a lot when they have these high ratings like this.
We do have an update on something that might explain the earlier wreck, as I've heard back from Mark Murphy about the weather. There is a 9-mile-an-hour westward wind, which is making turn 2 absolutely murderous. It's the same place we lost Rashad Craig. These cars are being sent loose by the quite heavy winds for these aero-sensitive cars. That caused the first wreck, and it may have caused the second as well. And it could claim more if it continues being that intense.
Well, that's understandable. The way you set these cars up, these cars are set up to run really loose, like you said. They've got to be loose to compensate for the bad arrow push when you're behind somebody, and loose is fast anyway. If you're already loose and you catch a little gust of wind, that may be all it takes.
Well, that's what caused the first one, and that's what caused the second. And by the way, I've also heard back that we are expecting another pit stop. You get about 30 in a normal run, about 33 in the draft, and if you're really saving, 36. Thank you for Mohammed for helping me from the grave for that one. We will be seeing more pit stops.
Muhammad rises back to help out.
So, yes, you're going to get your dream. We are going to get ourselves a 2-stop race. Don't mind when I said in the intro. I get 1 stops in my races.
Well, I really hope that it's a green flag stop, though. Pitting under caution is just not the same. Especially, all these crews they do exactly the same amount of time. So it's, there's not much, space to be gained in the pits other than maybe strategy with not taking tires or whatever. But, but under green flag conditions, how fast you enter and get off and all of that stuff makes a big difference. So, yeah, I just hope this. Oh, look at this going 3 wide.
It's Pablo, it's Sam, and it's Sudik, I believe. Oh, man, they made it work. They gave it up after a while. That is Nicholas Sudik getting away with it. Very close to almost an absolute travesty there.
I thought they were going to take that into the turn 3 wide, and man, that was not going to work at all. I can tell you. Yeah, it looks like Sudik got away there because they had to lift a little bit, I think, to compensate. But
That's Marco Brazil off the track.
Whoa!
He's lost it himself. Is the wind claimed another? Oh, we're going to go back a little bit further than that. That's a horrific one.
Oh, no. Yeah, he had tire damage there already.
I think it might be the same story as before. We stay green, though. No.
Oh,
was he
no.
tagged?
Yeah. Either he was tagged or it could have just snapped loose and he corrected it and it dove into the wall there.
He's tagged by the car
hit.
behind,
Yes.
and they see another one damaged there as well. I think that might be Daniel Ferguson. No, it's Seb Alexander. It is Seb Alexander.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, they were running.
Tagged him from behind. As Marco Brazil taken out from behind, and I think Seb may have been involved in something else. We stay green. I'm gonna try and catch these replays as soon as we get a chance. But now that one's more of a one to get annoyed by. I think if you get tagged by behind going into the turns.
Yeah, I mean it depends on what happened there. If he had to lift or something, then you can kind of expect that something like that could happen. But yeah, I would love to get another look at it now that we know, and I know you're working on getting all that done as we stay here with the leaders right now. Yeah, that's our first real on track action. I mean we had that's where two cars come together and cause a wreck as opposed to somebody getting involved in somebody else's spin. Yeah, that could make you mad there because he sure did looks like he got hit from behind. Man, that's two of the fastest guys in the race have been taken out.
So just try and catch us on board here to see what we can catch. This is on board with Seb Alexander, our guilty party, I think. This is, no, that's not going to work. Blame the nature of replays for that one. I believe it pulls the live data. But, this is his own. Is this his own incident? It might be his own. I'm waiting. He does end up in the pit stop eventually.
Oh, yeah, he's loose right there. He just pitted. Okay.
That is a green flag pit stop, possibly. Or it could have been. It could have been he did the damage, and you saw the damage on his front wing. And iRacing does like to sort of catch up with the damage later, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so that damage to the front wing probably didn't happen, and then he is pulling in to fix that front wing damage that is going to... Oops.
Yeah.
We're back. Oh, there's so many transitions. You're spending so much time looking at our great logo just so I can get back live and get out of that eternal time nightmare. Seb Alexander, he has pulled out. He must have taken damage that was too lethal from that collision. And I can catch one more replay of that next time we have downtime. But that's an unfortunate error, and we're down to 14.
Yeah, not a lot of downtime in these IndyCar races for sure. These moving at 240 miles an hour, they don't leave a lot of downtime.
Indeed, but it's interesting how well these drivers have kept together. Muscleman taking the P1 for now. Obviously, as the race goes later and later and later, you start to think about when to make your move, because races can be won or lost by when you trade that draft, because each move could be your last. Obviously, it's okay to sort of go be a bit processional right now, but it's going to be interesting soon, I think.
Yeah, I mean, again, you don't want to be the guy in front hitting that last straightaway, because there's a good chance you're going to get passed. I mean... there's a lot to do with timing here that's going to make a huge difference in, how well you can, where you position yourself. And to be honest, I don't have a lot of experience in Indy cars running up front for the win, so I don't know.
I've done it, and it's scary. I didn't end up winning, but I ran quite far up close in my favorite split, the bottom. And one day I will find a way to bring some bottom split broadcast to the world. We'll have the right attitude. We'll have some fun with it. But I've done some of that, and the racing can still get quite good there. Let me tell you, it's by no means just a disaster.
No, but there's just enough disaster to make it fun. Somebody else is pitting there.
It is Lilac Zier, and it looks like that is going to kick off our cycle of green flag pit stops. Didn't see anything kick off, so this is now the second fuel stop.
Well, we're not going to go all the way to the end from here.
Yeah, apparently I heard that this was inevitable. There was not going to be enough. You need about 35 laps on the run. This is the run to sort of decide everything.
So, if they're at 29 laps right now.
And the top three is all doing it. Top four, going for that stop.
Somebody's locking them up back there. We're getting our green flag stops.
Yeah.
Getting green.
No horrific disasters, but they are doing it. That puts Adam in perspective P1 for now.
Yeah, I guess they're planning on trying to stretch, at 29 laps, 28 laps left, when they went into the pits. According to what the information Muhammad gave us.
So now it's going to be the rest up from here. It's this top 7 that are yet to stop. Adam Blocker, Nicholas Sudik, Sam Carasala, Hamilton Akabuezi. Looks like Gonzalo Romero is going to join that pack of the 2 now. Trying to stretch it out as far as absolutely possible right now in order to get the most out of that final stint and out of that final run. Adam is in a good position here, though.
Yeah, he definitely. Again, the guy's got a 7,000 I rating. He 7,000 plus I rating. He definitely understands what it takes to win. My guess is you really wouldn't want to have to be conserving fuel on that last run. You want to be able to get into your power and be able to run in the engine mapping one, the fastest setting. I can see going for a fuel stretching strategy if it's going to gain you some track position maybe and you weren't in a good spot, you were running back there in 16th or 15th or something or, whatever. It'd be interesting to see now what Adam's going to do here because my guess is Adam's going to make sure he gets in his window good before he stops.
It would be inappropriate to share more, but I will say that that first incident was very much sort of my bad, all right, and that second one, there's a bit of controversy and argumentation. So, that one will be settled off the track, I think, both sides. Both, I think, valid to be frustrated by a little bit of car contact. We might be able to get a closer look at that when there's downtime in this race.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're not getting a lot of downtime.
Drivers keeping it green.
Especially not with green flag pit stops, in the middle of that cycle. Because all it's going to take is, we already saw one guy lock up, but, it's so easy to come. You've been running 240 miles an hour for, 25 laps or so, and then you got to get it woed down to pit road speed, which I think here is maybe 60 miles an hour.
It's a trying to slam on the brakes on this thing. I got my first ever protest filed against me in Indy Ovals because I rear-ended somebody on the on under caution. So happens. I'll tell you from first-hand experience that these cars do not slow that particularly well if you're not expecting it in the oval downforce setup. Obviously, these are almost a completely different car on the ovals than they are on the road courses, and they certainly don't stop the same way when they don't have to stop. That looks like Nicholas Sudik, the next of this lead pack to stop. Adam Blocker and Hamilton Akabuezi just trying to make them way past the lap traffic of Lucas Lodato right now.
Yeah, these oval cars have completely different sets of brakes on them than the road cars have. So they don't have a ton of brakes because you're not using brakes in these cars, not as far as the racing aspect of it goes. And so they don't have near the brakes that the road cars have. So it's a lot harder to get them woed down when they're, on this oval format.
The driver's down to Olivia Haywood next to stop, although Olivia's stopped. Link it 5. Down to Daniel Ferguson. The drivers haven't stopped yet. I think they are trying to hold out for as long as humanly possible. As this lap traffic not being inconvenient, they are certainly being respectful and giving up that draft, but adding as a little bit of an impediment as they are in the way on this battle.
Yeah, and I think they're probably, looking at their lap times to see if they're, there's some more coming in. Looking at their lap times to see if they're still up front, if they're still holding their pace. And Ferguson looked like he was getting kind of racy there for a second.
Sam Carasala just caught a black flag for a bad pit entry, by the way. Sam Carasala just catching the black flag. Can we catch that on the onboard? Can we catch how this could have gone wrong? This has probably completely spoiled his race running out the top view. It happens to all of us, but you can see he's going to be holding there for significantly longer as we take a look on the onboard. This will be the lap where he goes for that pit entry. Is it over the commit line, or is it a entry speed issue? Probably an entry speed issue. As these cars, they don't slow easily. There's lots of possibility, but this will be at the time he pulls into the lane. Probably just a tiny bit too fast. Probably just barely over. That's got to be heartbreaking. Sent to the back with a long stop and hold. He's still in that pit lane, and he finally gets moving. That's him basically out of this race for good.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
Our leader stopping there, and that's Adam Blocker coming out in.
Ferguson locked him up going in there. Right as we cut away, you could see his tires smoking.
A lot of drivers have been locking it up going into the lane. Adam Blocker here will take the P1 if Akabrezi stop isn't quick enough. We'll take a look as to who inherits his P1 across the line, because this could be the P1 to determine this final battle. We can see the delta shrink in the corner, in the corner, in the corner, in the corner. I don't have the time to bring up the live comparison. Akabrezi has just been released from the pit lane. Adam Blocker going to come on around now. Will he get that advantage over? I'm not completely sure. It's actually,
he didn't.
Akabrezi does claim the P1, but there's going to be a speed delta coming out the pit lane, and that gives Adam Blocker the P1. Akabrezi could hold on to P2 from that green flag pit stop, and this is the pack to determine the end of this race.
Yeah, that was close. That was nice. So they're going to settle back in there, obviously, and start swapping spots again. I'll tell you what, I'd hate to be counting lead changes in this race.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a bogus statistic on a draft train, if you know what I mean. Like, it matters a little bit less when the lead changes are part of the processional show. But our top 6 for now as we approach the final 20 laps. Adam Blocker and Akabrezi are going to be trailing their P1. Jesper Orman, Nicholas Sudik, and AJ Musselman fighting for that next position. Daniel Ferguson and Lilac Zia in P7. She's on the back of this pack, but it's still very, very close with all to play for. And every driver now believes they don't need to make another stop. Maybe a caution could encourage one, but John Silver said, I don't think we'll hit those 39s if we're still in the 40s by now. I can try and get the stint comparison for our top 2, and we can take a look at how these stints might differ. It's Adam Blocker and no, they had almost the exact same pit strategy. Right, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I think you're right. We're not going to see a 39 now. The closest anyone's gotten is a 40.32. So that's still a good ways from a 39. So Jesper Orman is the one on the different strategy. He stopped earlier on both occasions, And it's possible those tyres could come to life by the end of this race, given the way they sort of peak and fall. Everybody else has just about fallen into line.
Will Orman, what lap did Orman pit on? Do we know that?
If I just throw this up one more time. He stopped on 56 with the next drivers in the 60s.
56. So that's
he has fuel.
29 laps. That's going to be close on fuel. That's 29 laps.
That's going to be to the margin. In clear air, you get 30. So he does have some draft, though. So he'll make it close. He'll have the lighter car. He could have the slipperier tyres. I want to see if that weather's improved in any way. Not particularly. It's southwest now. 9 miles an hour. Sends you into the trees. Or no trees here, but instead into the hard, unforgiving concrete.
Yeah. They're about like hitting a tree with these walls around here. This is, that Orman strategy, and he just moved up into second right there.
That's Chris Wilhite, who has had himself another meatball flag. See if I can catch this one on the replay. He is our next incident. It's the wind catching out more drivers. Didn't get a caution on this one from Chris. But I think we've been hearing turn 2 has been where... Oh, no, there's a little bit of contact with the car. So that's with John Silver running side by side. And that is no good.
No, that's... Yeah, I just had a little contact there.
See if I can just... They're both looking for the same little bit of tarmac and running a bit too close. That's him out of this race for good.
Yeah, he either he didn't know he was there or he was coming down to squeeze him, because he didn't give him a lot of room there at all. So I hate to say it, but he kind of might have brought that on himself there.
Yeah, running side by side is as scary as ever. We're down now to 13 running and 12 in contention as Karasala's giant hold set him a long way back. That's a bit of contact from the wall there from Nicholas Sudik. Wonder if there'll be aero damage from that sort of hit. That looked heavy.
I was looking at the timing and scoring, and I missed that, but he had it, so I didn't see him hit it. But certainly these cars are a little more resilient sometimes if they hit the wall smooth, like flat hit it.
Let's see if I can. I think it happened here. Am I wrong? I could be wrong. Maybe this time. Maybe this time. If it's not this one, I won't stay around on the replay for hours trying to catch it. I just think I'm onto something. Oh, you're just going to have to believe me on that one. You're just going to have to believe me.
Yep.
Honestly, trust me, bro. He's still running in P4. Doesn't look like there was much damage. He's ready to get on the rear of Acabrezzi.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I'm looking at Jasper Orman there, and that strategy seems to be working for him right now. Like you said, his tires are getting in the window a little quicker than some of the other guys, maybe. Here he goes. Look, he's starting swapping for the lead now.
Jesper Orman's strategy play could have won him this race. We'll see.
This is where it's going to get real, though, right here.
No more respect on the trades. Nah. You're fighting for position the whole way to the end.
Yeah, it's 11 laps now. It's business time now.
It's Nicholas Sudik, as we're looking on board with right now. But it really could be anyone this top 5. I think AJ Muscleman is I've been calling Muscle Man like he's the man of muscle rather than Muscleman, which is probably more correct. More correct. Muscleman probably a little bit out of this chase, although anything could happen if the heat gets turned up appropriately. Oval races are a bit like a pressure cooker. They build and build and build and then boil over when you least expect them. Really, 4 in this running. I see a little bit of smoke come around. I don't think that was another wall tap, but it could have gotten awfully close to one. I see Sudik just sort of all over the road a little bit.
Yeah, he's not up on Hamilton as much. There we go. That's you're gonna have to hook up if you want to catch these leaders. You're gonna have to work with somebody right here, at this point in the race. And so you can't get there by yourself. I don't think they're carrying too much speed, draft, pulling each other around. You've got to have somebody to work with.
There's no... It's that weird symbiotic relationship from hell where you want to beat them, but you have to work with them. And as every lap builds up, it's going to just get closer and closer and closer to someone pushing it just a bit too far over the line and killing their race. So how far does this actual pack go down to now? I'd say everyone down to Lilac Zia is visible, and then the gap to Pablo Frances behind and Olivia Hayward is completely unassailable. Lilac Zia is about the last driver within range of this lead pack. I mean, a win would be unbelievable. I don't count on it, but that's sort of the gaps that have played out as we're starting to see the aggression turn up and up and up. Adam Blocker's been turning it up and up and up, and we almost went 3 wide.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what Akabeze did there. He's trying to he tried to go with Blocker there and pass Orman when they're doing this lead swapping, which is interesting because he did not try to go with Orman there. But when the last time that Blocker made a move, Hamilton came with him and tried to squeeze in there and pinch Jasper up. No, he didn't do it there. I think that's gonna be his move though from third. He's gonna try to go with whoever's going to pass the leader at some point. He's gonna pick his time, and they're gonna try to keep the leader squeeze the leader out on the high side of the track.
Well, I've been that third car before, and it's really tricky knowing when to make your move when the front 2 are working together and sort of not considering you are part of the game. You want that win. You can get that win if you draft it right, if you play your game right, but you have to time it absolutely excellently.
Well, and the thing is, you got to leave yourself enough time to still make a move on the leader. You can't just go with him unless you just can. There he goes, right there. There it was. That was it.
Leon Orman now in contention for that P2. Right. I don't think Orman's done, though. 5 to go when they cross the line.
Orman's going to be in that weird spot now, though. I mean, if I was Hamilton, I would not try to pass Blocker what he did, because you're gonna open it up there. They're getting real racy right now.
Akabwezi takes the P1 and wants to run away with it. We can see the size of that gap building and building, and now that's Nicholas Sudik on the back of Jesper Orman. He's lost out so much time. I think those tires might be starting to fall off at this stage in this 30 lap run. He has him slower than everyone else.
Yeah, he also got back in some dirty air where there's a lot of cars flinging dirty air around up there in front of him. Makes it handle a little different. We'll see. You might just need to get a grip on that before he does anything. I don't think his tires have gone yet. They could have. I mean, they're getting at the end of a run.
He's 25 into his stint. You hit the peak around now or just before now. They'll obviously make it to the end, but the delta just fundamentally changes the way this car drives. As Daniel Ferguson into the rear of Nicholas Sudik. He wants to join this chase as well.
Yeah. Did he bump him there? Because I saw Studik's car twitch really bad.
I didn't see it from my view, but it certainly wasn't lethal enough to take out one of these drivers.
No, but Sudik's car twitched really bad there. I just didn't know if his tires were going away, like his rear tires, but oh man, this is getting exciting right here because there's so many, they're passing twice a lap on each other, and I think Orman's waiting to do the same thing that that was done to him. But he got careful. Sudak's going to be all over him. He's going to be having a fight back there and not be able to worry about the lead.
Well, the story of this race, Adam Blocker has been at the front from the start, timed every pit stop perfectly, always been in contention, no matter what hits. Nicholas Sudik started as a front runner in P6, but Akabrezi and Orman started from way far behind, and they could easily steal this win at the last second. They're getting so aggressive now, side by side. It's going to come to blows at this rate.
You know, Orman pulled out to make a move, and Akabrezi just jumped out there in front of him. It's like, oh no, bro, that's my line. You're not getting that one. Wow, yeah, they're. Oh, but now Orman's falling back to fourth. Sudak got by him. Here comes Sudak in that third spot.
The final lap of the race we're about to come up to.
Oh, look at this. There now they're going 3 wide down the front straight.
Cabrese takes the lead for now. Only a few corners to go to decide this.
Oh man, Adam Blocker's got. Okay, he's all right. I was gonna say he's got to get up there on him. Yeah, they're scrambling now. Oh, I tell you what, he may be. I wonder if he's too far down to get a good entry into this turn. No, he came back up
ahead. Akabrezi, just a tiny inch behind. Blocker's placed a hold off too, as is true to his name. It's going to be a freeway drag race. He has made the block, but Akabrezi
he lost it.
We're going to send it free wide over the line. I don't quite have the data right now. The overlay crashed at the last possible minute. I will get that to you as soon as possible. I think that was Akabrezi's. We'll check the results. It was Akabrezi's over the line. The overlay killed us on the last lap, though. I was able to get you that data there after an hour of running from 13th on the back. Akabrezi on the line takes the win.
Man. Yeah, I imagine Adam's a little hot right now.
The overlay crashed in excitement. Okay.
Yeah, technology. You know what? Of course it
in
did.
Excitement for that finish.
Yeah, look how quick Adam got out of there, man. He was mad. He got on the pit road and he just hit the button.
Losing a race you've dominated from the start till the very, very end, but some good strategy and some good timing.
Short of the green flag pit stop, he never rotated out of the top 3. He was in the top 3 the whole race.
Well, I can get the finishing results for this race, I believe, those. We hide that. Go away. A bit of recovery just in time. We might be able to see the scale of this gap. Hamilton Akabrezi from the back of the grid takes the win by 0.021 of a second. Adam Blocker behind, and Nicholas Sudik trying his absolute hardest to get in there. It was a freeway drag race to the line. Apologies for the dodgy camera angle. We got the data sooner rather than later. Jesper Orman in P4 with Daniel Ferguson in 5th. AJ Musselman in 6th with John Silver in 7th. Lilac Zia, Pablo Frances and Olivia Hayward made up the top 10. Further behind, Gonzalo Romero, Lucas Lotado, Sam Carasala, Sam Wilhite, Seb Alexander, Marco Brazil. These are the drivers that retired throughout the race. Rashid Craig, Mark Murphy and Mohamed Omir finished off this 20-car field at Indy. That's exactly what we expected it to be from the start.
Yeah, that was good stuff right there. Oh, man. That was fantastic. That finished 3 wide, crossed the line there. Half a second didn't separate any of them. That was amazing. Oh, man, I'm pumped up.
I'm off to harass the ATVO devs about letting me down in my time of need.
Right.
But until then, we're going to be back on this channel with more. You can sign up to join the second round of our mini stocks league at www.aeonesports.com, and it'll be live on this channel from Friday evening in the UK. It's my little pet project, and I'm absolutely in love with it. Also got some great TCR racing coming in the couple days as the SOF Plus League heads to Circuit Zolder, and I have a very special guest along my side. Subscribe, hit the bell, and get notifications for every future race we bring. Hope the community enjoyed it. I know they'll sure be back to their typical partner on the coming seasons, but it was an absolute joy and an absolute pleasure to have the chance to sit down anyway and bring this to you. I've been Howie Burroughs. Anything else to say from Jim Cunningham?
No, man, just thanks for inviting me to do this. This was a lot of fun tonight, and I'm glad we got the opportunity.
absolutely fantastic racing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everyone racing. And we'll see you maybe on the track some.